up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. My name is Adam Palmer. I am your host. This is the Hobby News Daily Morning Minute. Today is Tuesday, July 1st. And on today's episode of the podcast, we are going to be talking about three cards that sold over the weekend through Goldin Auctions. This past weekend, Goldin had one of their big auctions of the summer or of the spring, I guess. One of them was, we're gonna talk about three cards. So one doesn't make a lot of sense, if I'm going to be honest. I don't really know why it sold. One I'm interested in, and then one just kind of another one that is probably going to break. It did break some records, but it's going to be more of, I don't know, potentially a catalyst of things to come. So the first one was a one of one Wembenyama 2024. So second year Prism one of one PSA 8 sold for $61,000. And I don't know why, really. I think a lot of Wembenyama stuff kind of surprises me when it sells for these crazy amounts. Like a second year Prism selling for $61,000. I don't know. Just feels like there's other cards you could be buying for that amount, where you're not buying a player that's recovering from a blood clot. Like, I don't know. It's not even just like the second year player. It's like the fact that Wembenyama is going to be coming off of this injury that historically has not been great for basketball players. Not great for anybody, obviously. But the 61,000 just feels like I don't know, could have been probably someone else or another player or another card you could have bought. So that's the first one. That's the one that doesn't make a lot of sense. One that makes some sense. I think it was an interesting one. So the one of one Superfractor Cooper Flag Superfractor auto, which was graded a 9/10 auto from Bowman U. So his first Bowman Superfractor auto, that sold for $97,600. And previously 85,000 was the record. So this one broke a record for Cooper Flag, which again, the whole is broke a record for this certain player. It's a little bit played out at this point, I think, from a content perspective. I think, sure, if you're talking about like a LeBron or you're talking about like Curry or like Brady, saying that a record is being broken for that specific player, I think that matters. But whatever, that's kind of not really besides the point. The thing that I'm most interested with this card is if this era of basketball players, once Topps starts making basketball cards, if this Superfractor autograph is going to be, if it's going to be as big of a card in baseball as it is in basketball and football once Topps takes over. I think the crossover between Topps and Panini, I think, adds a barrier there that does potentially stop these Superfractor, these first Bowman cards from really, I think, going to the next level in terms of where I think that they could go. I also think that there is a potential hurdle. There are a couple hurdles here with these types of cards, and ones that I'm kind of thinking about sort of as we're going along farther and seeing why maybe the baseball Bowman is going to be more popular than the basketball Bowman or football. Probably because like the basketball and football, once those players get drafted, more than likely they're going right to the league. They're going to be in the league. Now, sure, second round picks and late round picks in the NFL, they may not end up making it. Like, they may either go to the G League or they may go to they might get cut. I don't know if they're a late round player in the NFL. But the fact that there are 2, 3, 4 years, potentially some point, for baseball players before they get into the league and they get their first rookie card. And even, players like this year, there's a ton of good players that made their debuts that don't get rookie cards until next year. So it's more time. But this card here, I don't know. I like I said, I think that there's going to be interesting conversations going forward. Like, once we get a Cooper Flag Topps rookie, like, because this will be the first generation of, I think, or at least I think it would be the first generation of players who are getting their first Bowmans, and then they'll also get a Topps rookie card, like a real rookie card, not like the Photoshop stuff they've been doing recently, or Topps as they've been making the unlicensed stuff. But so this card, this 2024 product, 2025 also, but more 2024, they are going to be the first sect of players who have a first Bowman, and then they get into the league. So that is sort of, I don't know. In my opinion, that is could be why Bowman never really catches on for these other sports and why it catches on for baseball, because such a wide gap between them getting drafted or them getting their first Bowman and then going to the league. Where Cooper Flag, for example, this product in 2024 comes out, and now he's drafted and he's on the Mavericks. So it's like there's all of those factors that I think on one hand could be why it becomes as popular as Bowman baseball, but also it could be holding it back potentially. And the last card we're going to talk about is one actually that I had discussed probably, I don't know, like a week or two ago at this point. I wanted to highlight it because it is the Carlos Alcaraz one of one. I guess it's a superfractor autograph. I don't think NetPro calls their one of one superfractors, but it is like the one of one autograph from that product. And like this is potentially like Alcaraz, we are really looking at potentially being like one of the next goats of tennis. Now, this is the most expensive men's tennis card of all time. Obviously, there's been other, I believe there's probably Serena Williams cards that have sold that maybe were more than this. That's probably the only player I can think of, to be honest, that would be a higher price tag than this. Oh, and sorry, and the price, if I didn't say it, was $273 or $237,000. Alcaraz, like I said, we're looking at potentially like another GOAT in a sport, and we're looking at him very early. This rookie is from 2022, which is when I believe he made his debut. So it was also good, like in a sport that isn't super into cards, to actually get a card of a player during I believe this was either their first or their second season, like playing professionally, which crazy that 2022 was 3 years ago also. So it was good to see a player get a card that early, when there are times where in other sports or other uh lesser known sports, I suppose, where a player is a superstar and they don't get their rookie until like 2 or 3 years after like they're a star. And at that point, it's like, can you even really call that a rookie card? Because then it sort of gets into the debate, like, what is a rookie card versus like, can a player get a rookie card in their third or fourth season? I think it's kind of all part of that conversation. But for Alcaraz, it was a card that basically he got right at the beginning of his career. Sells for $230,000. This isn't super surprising. I mean, this probably ends up being his best card of all time. I'm sure that Topps is going to make, because they have the license for tennis now, I'm sure they're going to make some great Alcaraz cards. But in my opinion, nothing. There may be other cards that sell for more expensive, but there isn't going to be a better card than this one. With it being a one of one, with it being an autograph, with it being so early on into his career, there are so many factors. Also, it is a 10. They didn't get the auto graded, it looks like, but it got a PSA 10, which I think is pretty wild. Which this wasn't a packed card, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to remember back to when the card was released. I believe you could just buy this card, or it was similar with Topps now, where they did like a lottery essentially. So this card was never in packs. It never was like you couldn't pull this card. So like that's the reason why it's in such good condition. But I think also nowadays you're just seeing, obviously cards are just in such better condition because of the production of the cards. So all in all, this is going to be a great card to look back at in the future and see when Alcaraz, like, if he becomes this GOAT or this legend, like what ends up being the price of this card versus, selling 3 years into his career at $237,000.